So the big purge, I guess you could say part 3, maybe? Part 4? I don't know how many purges we've had. The biggest one, I guess, is here now for YouTube, and it's very likely that my channels will go down. I've already been hit. I got hit. I'll just check my email about an hour ago, and I got hit on Jeff Censored Live in a show that I did with TMF, in which I don't think we explicitly said anything didn't happen, or it was a hoax or anything like that, but it's already happening, and probably going to see all your favorite channels go down one after another. I mean, there might be a few that stick around. Maybe if you got a cat tower or something like that, you might be allowed to stick around, but most people are going to be wiped out here, and it's pretty clear. So and look, I mean, how many channels have I lost, right? I've lost count how many channels I've lost. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers wiped out, channel after channel, so that's why I don't get too invested in trying to build channels like I used to, because I've just had the rug pulled out from underneath me over and over again. Now, it's a coordinated sort of thing, and it's been in the cards for several years that they have instigated this. They brought in their operation, which was the Flat Earth and Mandela and all these other fake conspiracies, and they proliferated it everywhere, and they pushed it everywhere, and they raided everybody's chats so that everybody knew that there was a Flat Earth cult or whatever. And then they said, well, we got to come in and clean this up. And they've consistently positioned people within the bowel movement. I mean, like, I hate to ever, criticize or paint everyone with the same brush, because that's not fair at all. There's a lot of good people that put out good content, and there has been historically over YouTube. But I mean, let's be honest. If there's one corner of the internet that is shilled to high heaven, it's this one. It's out of this world. It's astonishing what I've seen over the years. Astonishing. But when you're close to the target, that's when the heat comes on, sort of thing. So it's no surprise to me to see this, and ultimately this is an attack on freedom of speech. It's an attack on the First Amendment. And it's a belligerent attack. It is a very evil sort of initiative that is being used here. They are going primarily, I mean, first and foremost, what is their major target? Their major target has always been conspiracy, type content. Not the fake conspiracy, type content that is proliferated massively on the platform, but I'm talking about the real stuff. In particular, the people that would be labeled skeptics of events, right? You look at an event that happens and you're skeptical of whether it transpired the way that the corporate media is put down. That is their number one target, without a doubt. And we have shown it over the years. I've shown it over and over and over again how they are trying to, paint all conspiracy theorists as deranged lunatics, and you have to go to certified sources. You cannot trust people, anonymous people on the internet. And look, I mean, right? It's done. YouTube is it's them tube, right? Come on. Right? I mean, it's kittens and trannies and mental health, and I mean it's all of the things, mukbangs and ASMRs, and it's just awful. It is. And satanic music videos, which are par for the course. I mean, you got a satanic music video that's displaying torture and people in cages and stuff like that. Well, they'll put it up on trending, of course. But if you question an event, and if you're not diverse, if you do not believe in diversity, if you have pride in your race, it depends what race that is, Because if you're white and you have pride in your race, well, it's done. You're gone. You're going to be wiped out because you're not going to be allowed to put that up. But I imagine if you're Rainbow Unicorn approved, you'll do fine. You might even make it on trending. And yeah, we're witnessing the destruction of freedom of speech. We're witnessing what other people have witnessed, other generations have witnessed in dark times. And this is extremely evil. And freedom of speech is freedom of speech. I mean, the whole idea of freedom of speech is that you can say things that other people will find offensive, but you have the freedom of speech to do so. It doesn't mean that you're right about what you say. That's not the point. The point is people should be allowed to speak freely. And this is something that they are intent in wiping out completely. And with Supreme Lord Commander over the years, before I had Supreme Lord Commander, I had no idea what YouTube was. I mean, like I just stuck to my corner, basically, right? I didn't really go and look at what was popular. I avoided it like the bubonic plague. When I started Supreme Lord Commander, I subbed to all the popular channels, and I was gobsmacked. I was just like, oh my God, look what they're doing to the youth. And so, you know, that's going to be wiped out. The commentary on what they're doing to the youth will not be tolerated. All these things won't be tolerated. So you see all the headlines here. YouTube just banned supremacist content. And, you know, all these things choreographed, the New Zealand thing and all that. YouTube has begun blocking discriminatory content. BuzzFeed, ButtFeed, Time. It's all Disney, right? Basically, YouTube, no, YouTube won't remove these videos of racist, anti-gay. That's Louder with Crowder. It's interesting how Louder with Crowder is going to be around. I wonder why. I wonder why. Do you think he might be legit? YouTube finally banned content from neo-Nazis and Holocaust deniers. YouTube says banning supremacist content. Wired, you know, it's all the same. It's all the same. There's 5 corporations control your media, and they all meet together in secret. It's done, right? It's them too. YouTube used to be, once upon a time, do you remember? I mean, do you remember what it used to be like? Before it became WajikkiTube, before it became ThemTube, do you remember what it was like? It was something. It was like anybody could put up a video. It wasn't like what was on trending was Vivo and PewDiePie and the latest drama alert, right? It was just whatever, you know. Somebody filmed a squirrel in his backyard and caught some funny, spontaneous moment, and boom, millions of views. That's the way it should have been. I mean, the whole purpose. I don't know if Susan Wojcicki or the YouTube community understands this. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to, you know, the original 3 guys that founded YouTube, be important to talk to them about this, because it was called YouTube, meaning the way that I interpret was that it was you. It was just, it wasn't a corporation tube. It was YouTube. It was just people, ordinary people with ordinary lives that are unaffiliated with anything, right? That just, you know, take videos, whatever, and put up their stuff. It's not like that anymore, though. It's ThemTube. I remember a time when we were absolutely annihilating the corporate media. And our videos would get way more views and way more comments. Gazillions of more comments. And that was because we were challenging the narrative that the corporate media was putting out. And people liked that. And they wanted to see people question the events that are being used to change our laws and change our future, sort of thing. And yeah, they Disney and Co. came in and said, nope, we're not going to allow this. YouTube. Think about it. YouTube? No. ThemTube. It's ThemTube. It's been ThemTube for the past 5 years. It's just more apparent than ever now. So maybe we'll take a look at the article on the New York Times. And I caught Press Reset's video just before. He did a good job. And he had mentioned that how these big corporations, the big corporate media, had articles, full-blown articles, all ready to go as soon as this announcement was made. And you can see a huge article here off the New York Times. So obviously they're all working together. And YouTube to remove thousands of videos pushing extreme views, content alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion. The videos denying that violent incidents occurred will be removed. Did you see that? That is the key. We've always been the biggest target. Always. You might think, and yes, gun lovers and you know, patriots and preppers and you know, white people who have pride in themselves. Yeah, you guys are all been targeted too, for sure. But no corner is more important to YouTube than this one. I mean, the amount of effort that the corporate media and the YouTube employees, the top YouTube channels, have put into commandeering the whole conspiracy realm, where you have your A-list sort of YouTubers like Shane Dawson and PewDiePie and James Charles, Hi Fifth Earth, and all these characters who are all releasing conspiracy video after conspiracy video after conspiracy video. In fact, Shane Dawson released his conspiracy series the day that Susan Wojcicki announced that they were going to target conspiracy videos. Do you think that's a coinkydink? How dumb are you? Of course, Shane Dawson covers the really important conspiracies. You know, the ones like, does Chuck E. Cheese recycle their pizza slices? The ones that will have a huge, you know, bearing on the future of humanity. It is what it is, folks. YouTube announced plans on Wednesday to remove thousands of videos and channels that advocate neo-Nazism, white supremacy, and other bigoted ideologies in an attempt to clean up extremism and hate speech on its popular service. The new policy will ban videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify discrimination, segregation, or exclusion, the company said in a blog post. Prohibition will also cover videos denying that violent events like mass shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut took place. That's what it is all about. That's what they're most concerned with, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because if you shatter the illusion of the corporate media, it's game over. For the average person, they'll never trust it. They'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that event. Oh yeah, I remember that event. That is the key there. YouTube did not name any specific channels or videos that would be banned, but on Wednesday, numerous far-right creators began complaining that their videos had been deleted or stripped of ads, presumably as a result of the new policy. It's our responsibility to protect and prevent our platform being used to incite hatred, harassment, discrimination, and violence. You ever check your trending videos that show full-on Satanism and people being tortured and blood rituals and stuff? I guess that doesn't matter, eh? That stuff, wow. So the decision by YouTube, which is owned by Google, is the latest action by the Silicon Valley company to stem the spread of hate speech. And that's a really, of course, loaded term, hate speech. And disinformation on its site. A month ago, Facebook evicted 7 of its most controversial users, including Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist and founder of InfoWars. Twitter barred Mr. Jones last year, Mr. Jones, who works for them and was playing the role. The companies have come under intense criticism for their delayed reaction to the spread of hateful and false content. At the same time, President Trump and others argue that the giant tech platforms censor right-wing opinions, and the new policies put in place by the companies have inflamed those debates. Tension was evident on Tuesday when YouTube said a prominent right-wing creator who used racial language and homophobic slurs to harass a journalist in videos on YouTube did not violate its policies. Decision set off that's louder with Crowder. You know, the people we're not allowed to talk about. The decision set off a firestorm, including accusations that YouTube was given a free pass to some of its popular creators. There he is in the videos that creator Steven Crowder, or a conservative commentator with nearly 4 million YouTube subscribers, repeatedly insulted Carlos Maza, a journalist from Vox. Mr. Crowder used slurs about Maza's Cuban-American ethnicity and sexual orientation. Mr. Crowder said that his comments were harmless and that YouTube determined that they did not break his rules. Well, there's different rules for right? It's not the same. It never has been the same. I mean, if I made a satanic video and showed all kinds of blood and people being tortured and I put that up, do you think I'd get away with it? Probably not. Opinions can be deeply offensive, but if they do not violate our policies, they'll remain on our site, YouTube said in a statement about its decision on Mr. Crowder. On Wednesday, YouTube appeared to backtrack, saying that Mr. Crowder had in fact violated its rules and that his ability to earn money from ads on his channel would be suspended as a result. Came to this decision because of a pattern of egregious actions has harmed the broader community. I mean, what harmed? Of course. Like, who's getting harmed? Well, it's the nanny state, right? It's the New World Order, right? I mean, somebody got offended, therefore somebody must be banned. Hey, look, guys, right? There was a little girl that was called Bossy in her classroom. We have to ban the word Bossy. Because somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to use that word against somebody and somebody's going to be a victim of it. Therefore, we have to ban the word. This is how they function. The whiplash-inducing deliberations illustrated at a central theme that has defined moderation struggles of social media companies. Making rules is often easier than enforcing them. I bet John Green, I bet the Vlogbrothers are going to love this. I bet they're just going to love this. I bet they're just going to be so tickled pink. Right? I just can't wait to say how awesome it is to get your accredited sources. New York Times, Washington Post, right? John, this is an important and long overdue change, Becca Lewis said. Becca Lewis, a research affiliate at nonprofit organization Data and Society. I wonder who runs that. That about the new policies. However, YouTube has often executed its community guidelines unevenly, so it remains to be seen how effective these updates will be. YouTube's scale, more than 500 hours of new videos are uploaded every minute, has made it difficult for the company to track rule violations, and the company's historically lax approach to moderating extreme videos has led to a drumbeat of scandals, including accusation that the site has promoted disturbing videos to children and allowed extremist groups to organize on the platform. YouTube's automated advertising system has paired offensive videos with ads from major corporations, prompting several advertisers to abandon the site. Of course, the ad apocalypse. The kind of content that will be prohibited under YouTube's new hate speech policies includes videos that claim Jews secretly control the world. Wow. That say women are intellectually inferior to men and therefore should be denied certain rights, or suggest that the white race is superior to another race, a YouTube spokesman. What about videos in which Jews say that they're superior to other people? Will those be? What about Steven Pinker and his speeches about how the Jews have the higher IQs and all this stuff? Would those? No, I don't think so. So you're going to go after people that claim that Jews secretly control the world. Who runs YouTube? I wonder. The channels that post some hateful content but do not violate YouTube's rules with the majority of their videos may receive strikes, wonderful, under YouTube's 3-strike enforcement system, but would not be immediately banned. The company also said that channels that repeatedly brush up against our hate speech policies but don't violate them outright would be removed from YouTube's advertising program, which allows channel owners to share in advertising revenue their videos generate. In addition to tightening its hate speech, as press pointed out, I mean, it's like this whole article was ready to go as soon as the announcement was made. In addition to tightening its hate speech rules, YouTube announced that it would tweak its recommendation algorithm. Like they don't do that daily. The automated software that shows users based on their interest and past viewing habits. The algorithm is responsible for more than 70% of the overall time spent on YouTube and has been a major engine for the platform's growth, but it has also drawn accusations of leading users down rabbit holes filled with extreme and divisive content in an attempt to keep them from watching and drive up the site's use numbers. Here's a quote here. If the hate and intolerance and supremacy is a match, then YouTube is a lighter fluid, said Rashad Robinson, president of the civil rights nonprofit Color of Change. I wonder which colors. YouTube and other platforms have been quite slow to address the structure they've created to incentivize hate. They created the structure to incentivize hate. Yeah, that's it. In response to criticism, YouTube announced in January that it would recommend fewer objectionable videos, such as those conspiracy theories about September 11, 2001. They're all being wiped out, by the way. Terrorist attacks, vaccine misinformation, a category it called borderline content. Then the YouTube spokesman said on Tuesday that the algorithm changes had resulted in a 50% drop in recommendations to such videos in the United States. He declined to share specific data, which videos YouTube considered borderline. Starving people of, taking away their views. This is just, this is the policy that they've been implementing for years against channels like mine. Masking us from any sort of search results, burying us in the whole system, not giving out notifications to subscribers, and then always promoting the butt feed Disney media as number one, whatever event happens or whatever's going on. That's why I don't cover these events anymore. It's impossible. You can't cover any of these events. You think you're going to cover a shooting and stuff like that? Get the fuck out of town. Our systems are also getting smarter about what types of videos should get this treatment. Our system should get this treatment, and we'll be able to pay even more borderline videos moving. We'll be able to apply it, to even more borderline videos moving forward. Other social media companies have faced criticism for allowing white supremacist content. What about other supremacists? What about black supremacist content? Chinese supremacist content? Jewish supremacist content? If you're only going to apply it to whites, that's racist. Yeah, that's racist. You can't just say racism only fits with these types of people and not with those. Or you can't be racist towards white people. Yeah, whatever. You can't be racist towards white people. White privilege, all that. So other social media companies face criticism. Facebook recently banned a slew of accounts, including Paula Josephine Twatson, a shill for InfoWars, and Laura Loomer. I wonder, a far-right activist. Is that really what she is, or is that the role that she plays? I don't know. Are you allowed to even ask these questions? Twitter bars violent extremist groups but allows some of their members to maintain personal accounts. For instance, Ku Klux Klan was barred from Twitter in August, while its former leader, David Duke, remains on service. I guess he's doing what they want him to do. Twitter is studying whether the removal of content is effective in stemming the tide of radicalization online. A Twitter spokesman declined to comment on the study. When Twitter barred Mr. Jones, he responded with a series of videos denouncing the platform's decision and drumming up donations from his supporters. Yeah, money bomb. The good old fat man knows how to make his money, selling his bone broth and his super male vitality. But I digress. YouTube's ban on white supremacists could prompt a similar cycle of outrage and grievance, said Joan Donovan, the director of technology and social change research project at Harvard. Wonderful. The ban, she said, presents an opportunity for content creators to get a wave of media attention, so we may see some particular disingenuous uploads. Wonderful. I wonder to what degree will the removed content be amplified on different platforms and get a second life? Well, you wonder, don't you? Right? You just wonder what it's like. Well, here we are. We're going to destroy freedom of speech, and we're going to wonder how destroying freedom of speech on these major platforms is going to lead to people going to other places to express their freedom of speech. It's done, folks. It's fucking done. I mean, it's a joke. This thing's a joke. This platform's a joke. It's a joke. It's YouTube? Get the fuck out of town. It's not for us. I mean, maybe if you're, shoving shit up your ass and dressing you're a guy and you're dressing up like a girl and you're doing all that stuff, maybe then, yeah, it's for you. I'm sure that's what they want you to do. But if you have freedom of thought, if you think for yourself and you use your critical thought and you actually apply that to your voice, forget about it. Forget about it. And this is just what it is, folks. It is what it is. It is what it is. And so there's a very good chance that my channels will go down, and that'll be it for at least my sort of YouTube career. And it'll just be wiped out, just like Free Radio Revolution. My other channels were wiped out, just completely wiped out. All the views, all the comments, all the tremendous amount of research and work that went into them, the live streams, all the shows that I hosted, all that, just gone. Gone the way of the dodo, man. But don't worry. Sure, there'll be lots of kittens and tranny videos to keep you occupied. This is while they're collecting every little detail of information on us, including our DNA. They literally know way more about us than we know about ourselves. They're eradicating freedom of speech completely. The reality is the internet is completely rigged. That's the reality. And the only real solution, I guess, I mean, like, I don't believe abstaining from what they're up to is going to lead to good results, meaning that, you could choose to turn your back on it all and unplug from the system. But sooner or later, the system will hit your front door. I mean, the 5G is coming in. They're pushing everybody away from the coastal areas and from the mountains and forests and everything, and everyone's being funneled into the big cities. We have the extreme weather storms that they're using and all these different things. And they've got us under complete surveillance. They're unloading the whole facial recognition, so you will not be able to go anywhere, basically. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. And at the same time, they're wiping out freedom of speech. And it is what it is. So in the future, people are going to have to find a way to share ideas and important information by bypassing their system. And it may actually have to come down to like word of mouth. It may actually have to come down to like talking to people on street corners before the brain chips come in. Because we're at that point where freedom of speech is being annihilated. Now, there has to be a titanic struggle in the United States because this attack on the First Amendment is so egregious, it's so belligerent, and it should be so unacceptable to any true blue American. Doesn't matter what color you are, because we're all going to be in a world what they want. The world that they want for us is a world where they think for us. They're dumbing us down. They've dumbed down the average person. They're bringing down the IQ levels purposely by promoting all these things, the toxic foods, the genetically modified, the high fructose corn sugar, all these things that would lower your ability to think. And they get you addicted to their entertainment, which isn't entertainment, it's programming. And right now, at this point in time, they want to think for you. They don't want you to ever think for yourself. They don't want you to have a whisper of critical thought. Because if you did, you'd see through it all. You'd be like, well, that's crazy. I mean, what? You mean you can't even say what I want to say? Are you telling me that an event happens and I'm not even allowed to voice my opinion on it? Yes. Yes. Are you telling me because I'm white, I am not allowed to have pride in my heritage? Yes. Are you telling me that if I point out that some group of people has an inordinate amount of control over all our media and all this thing, I'm not allowed to do that? Yes. It's them too, folks. And it's over.